Hey everybody, this is Erica with Broke Ass Mom. So if you have been watching my videos, you will know that I have been self-employed for a number of years. And one of the things I do sometimes for clients, sometimes short-term for clients, sometimes really long-term, like years at a time, I freelance. And there are freelance sites that you can utilize that connect you with clients in need of having certain work done, can help you gain long-term clients, actually help you gain a client base, help you bring some stability into your life. But I have been freelancing since 2007 on and off as needed. I also have some long-term clients and some other sources of income. But freelancing has been a mainstay and it helped me get started being self-employed. It's also given me a lot of freedom. I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. For sure, it's been stable, and in a lot of ways it's actually been pretty interesting. There have been some opportunities that I've had that have just kind of stood out as really fun and interesting things that I would not have had a chance to do, or someone I wouldn't have had a chance to work for if I had just had like a regular day job. So the first one that I recall, it was, I think, the year that I started freelancing. I happened to see a post for someone who needed a white paper written for Microsoft. Don't recall what it was for, but they were on a hardcore deadline and they needed it the next day. So I literally stayed up all night, wrote a research paper for Microsoft. I don't know what the purpose of it was for, but it was for Microsoft, and I got paid $500 just for a night's work. So I pulled an all-nighter and I got paid $500. That was actually pretty cool. So there was another one. Someone needed some research done for a book. So I was living near Georgia at the time. Someone needed some research done for a book that they were writing, and they happened to put this post on Upwork, and so I went to Atlanta, Georgia. I went to the Atlanta Historical Society in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was able to actually do the research in person for them. And it took me about a day, hung out with my husband at the time, just did it. It was a really neat place anyway to visit, and somewhere I wouldn't have gone otherwise. So it was kind of educational. I remember seeing something from Margaret Mitchell, who had written Gone with the Wind. There was actually just a really cool place. And once we were done, we followed it up with the Braves game that night. So, you know, it was actually, I got paid pretty well just for a day of work researching stuff for this person who needed somebody on site to research for their book, and just had like a fun day. It was definitely something different. There was another situation. I had a short-term client that I was connected with who was a New York Times best-selling author who wrote a phenomenal book. Can't go into details, but I got to get to know her a little bit, and I got to help her out for a little while, and that was just really cool. And I really do love her book. So that was something I had the opportunity to do. There was another person that I was connected with who happened to be a retired NBA star, and I worked for him for a couple of years, and he was really interesting, and it was just a really interesting world to be immersed in, and I learned a lot, and he was just a cool person. I can't go into detail. He was someone who at the time had a speaking business in addition to other things, and I was able to help him out with that. And I also, with that, I learned that I was actually pretty good at helping speaking clients get paid work. So that helped me out in a lot of different ways. The last thing that I recall that was just kind of off the wall, a little bit different, I had another client who worked in the TV industry, and he wanted my help while I was working with him, also on some speaking work. He needed my help on setting a Guinness Book World Record. And so I got to help coordinate a lot of that, see what the process involved. And it was like a really big thing. It wasn't one of these small things. It was something that required media coverage and research and coordination. There was an event location. So I got to assist in someone setting a Guinness Book World Record. And it was to make the purpose of it wasn't just to set the record, but the purpose of it was to help draw attention to safety. And I can't go into details for privacy reasons, but it was just really cool. And with freelancing, I have gotten to know some really phenomenal people that I just wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet otherwise. Just some really interesting minds. There are a lot of people who, like me, are at home and just don't know a lot of people, don't get out, but have really great ideas and are very passionate about what they do, very entrepreneurial. And you know, I've met people at a lot of different levels. I have learned a ton and grown a lot with what I do just by doing what I do. If I was pigeonholed into going to work one kind of job all the time where I just had certain tasks, while it may offer me more stability, I feel with doing what I'm doing, I have more opportunity to make more money, grow my skill set. It gives me ideas, jumping off ideas. I get to meet new people who I may build different work relationships with, who, you know, may bring me different work in another capacity. We do referrals. There's a ton of reasons to freelance and to do contract work with clients. The opportunities really are endless. You're not limiting yourself. And while I know it's not the same stability, you can make more money. You can travel with it. If you have a client who's just a total asshole, you can fire that client. And I have done that a number of times. It's not always perfect. So anyway, that's it for today. I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.